what would you advise young Nigerian couple who are thinking of relocating, coming to Canada or coming abroad generally, and have young children and some of their fears? What do you do to advise them on what to do?
Accept that a new environment will stress your relationship. Even the presence of 24/7 power can become a stressor. While you live in Nigeria, start redefining what gender roles are. If the man knows how to cook better than you, you better learn how to start providing. Be friends to one another. There's many people who are married to each other, but they are not friends. Friendship is the life support board of any relationship, especially marriage.
Many things will happen when you land that if you're not friends, it will disrupt your things. Like Emeka said, marry each other. He's not marrying you, you're not the price. You're not marrying him as the price. Two of you are prizes. As your trophy husband, she's trophy wife. Everybody's trophy. Let's trophy ourselves. So start being involved with your kids. When they come from school, questions. How was your day? Tell me more. Open-ended questions. Do you know that there are people in this Canada that don't have access to their kids' school zone? They don't have access to their kids' Google Classroom. They don't know what they're teaching their children in school. Even if you have some staff, you, this man that has never washed toilet before, wash toilets. Hey, put Harpic, like so, wash the toilet. You want to wear human hair? I don't have a problem. Wanty, that's money you're buying human hair. If you want to buy human hair every month, it will not work here. In this abroad, it will not work.
What steps have you been able to take, or are you taking to ensure that our Nigerian values and Nigerian culture is still maintained, especially living abroad or living in Canada?
The question is, how do we inculcate Nigerian values in our kids in Canada? I met a lady who told me that most adults should focus less on raising kids and more on the interaction between the parents in the home. Values, for me, depend on what I consider right and wrong. There is generally acceptable societal values, and respect is a huge part of it in Nigeria. You're raising a child to recognize the skills they need at particular times. And I don't see anything wrong with that. So I agree that we have to blend the values, what we brought here from Nigeria and what we met here. We have a system where, because of work, the mother is working, the dad is working, we leave the system to raise our kids. Raising kids in Canada should not be an accident. If you raise kids because you didn't have them by accident, if you raise them accidentally, you will lose them to the system. We already have a system that believes that children up till the point they get to 18 they don't have responsibility, and you should just let them grow. Don't do this. There's a lot of don'ts. There's not a lot of do's. However, the system that tells you this has not abolished the police. So that from 1 to 17, your children will do whatever they like. When they turn 18 and they do whatever they like, the police will come and say, then the system will also blame the parents. Where's the father? Where's the mother? Did they not raise kids well? Don't tell a child not to use iPad when you're like me. I know most times I'm on my phone, but I try as much as possible to not do it in front of my kid because I don't want her to pick up that habit. So when she's with me, I drop my phone and we watch TV. I try to explain to her, even though I know, I think, not that I know, I think she doesn't understand me. But it shocks me that when I say things, she does them. She may not be able to speak to me, but she does them, showing that she understands what I'm saying. She understands English, she understands Igbo. Bieba, Obia. Come here. She comes. Yenolan, go and sit down. I repeat the things in Igbo and English. That's how I've interacted with her. I speak English, I say it in Igbo, so that today she understands both. So the values, there's values we can imbibe from Canada. There's values. We have the advantage that we come from two cultures. So we can easily, as analytical humans, pick up what we consider good from Nigeria, what we consider good from Canada, so that, like Lola said, if you raise a child in the way they will grow, when they grow, they can't depart from it. It is difficult to raise kids a certain way, and then they grow and walk away from it. They emulate what the parents do. When I come here and let the system bring out my true personality, I shouldn't start blaming the system when my kids copy my personality.
Thank you, Mecca, for that. Oh, the intentionality is very important. Parenting is a full-time job.
Yep.
There are no vacations, there are no holidays, there are no breaks. And in fact, from what you all have said, it means that as parents, we have to set standards. We have to live our lives the way we want. It's a case of don't just do what I say, but do what I do. And we have to live up to the expectation. I'm sure having children around has allowed you guys to be even more disciplined.
Yeah.
Like,
See, if you don't set the right standard, someone else, something else will set those standards for you and your children. So it's up to you. Choose to be in control of the standards that operate in your kid's life, or someone else will set the standard for you.
Nail right on the head. Before we go to you, Lola raised her hand. I think she has a contribution.
But yeah, I was going to say something, Emeka. You mentioned something that is very key that I started to do when we had kids in Nigeria, which is we raise our kids like adults from beginning. It's on that thing Nigerians don't do a lot. I remember in Nigeria, people used to wonder, like, why are you talking to your son like this, even when he was younger? And when you said it, I was like, so that anybody who is starting to have kids is something, there's a downside. The downside, Emeka, you find out when they start to get older, they feel like they co-own the house with you. So at that point, you need to also let them know, like, we are the head here, like the parents here, right? But they become very independent very early.
Oh, they can become co-owners. I don't mind, as long as when I'm leaving in the morning, they are leaving with me to go and bring money.
So yeah, that's the only part. But at that point,
which bill? Like, you want to co-own? Which part of the bill are you owning? That's when you co-own. Is it the toys we buy that you want to start buying?
So that at that point, you'd have to explain to them, like, hey, well, the parents here will still pay the bills and all that, like, because you can become really independent to that point, Emeka. But that's a very good thing. So don't think she's not hearing. Honestly, at 2, my kids could, like, I can still go through their videos. They were making sentences, like you said, right? Because you're talking to them, like, you're talking to them, they're hearing. That's why she can hear everything you're saying. She may not just know how to express it, but she will early, right? We started to teach our kids how to read maybe at 3, 4, right? So I wanted to bring that up. Anybody who sees this, like, it's not a bad thing. I've told you the only downside is at some point they will think they co-own the house with you, but you have to set boundaries, right? So I think that's very great. I wanted to, like, reiterate that. And then when you say, you even need to raise kids who are functional in different societies, Emeka, honestly, like you said, when people go abroad, I think it amplifies a lot of things. It's just like the money amplifies. People say money is the root of evil. Money is the root that will bring out all the things that you did not know you had. So if you're a bad person, then that's when money will bring it out. If you're a bad person, abroad will bring it out. If you're a good person, money will bring it out. If you're a good person, abroad will bring it out, right? So I think many people need to sit down and even understand who they are. I don't think many people even know who they are. One of the biggest things I'm beginning to understand, I took for granted a lot, is self-identity. Many people don't even know who they are. Many people just go through life. And I say this with all humility, right? I used to get angry a lot at a lot of things in the past. Like, why is this person behaving like this? Why did Emeka do like this? Why did Busu do like this? I'm just giving an example. Why did Shegun do like this? But I started to, like, unkill certain things. And I'm now beginning to understand that many people, honestly, are just coasting. Like, they don't even self-reflect, right? They don't even, and I mean, self-healing, for example, like self-therapy. I'm doing self-therapy for myself, like, and then I'm beginning to understand certain things now. Okay, so I want people to really understand who they are. And this is why I tell people, if you don't even know who you are, there's no need getting married and there's no need having children. If you think you have problem being alone, oh God, you will have problem when you marry. Then you have problem when you start to have children. Use the time wisely. All this you want to jump here and there. On that, who are you? Sit down in your house, only you, and ask, who am I? Talk to yourself. Because, and this is why many marriages, scatter. right? Because people don't even know who they are, right? Same thing. And like I said, if you think you were patient with having a spouse, when you start having children,
Yeah. I cleaned the house this morning and I have to go and clean it again.
So like Emeka said, like I loved all those things he was saying, like problem solving skills. Again, I think these things happen both in Nigeria and Canada. I'm trying to make sure we're not saying there's a difference, because even in Nigeria, I've told you, Shegun, many kids, they come from school, they're on iPads. Parents come back, you finish work by 10. And you know, there are different cultures even in Nigeria. I remember I told you, for example, I worked in Access Bank, right? There was a time I went to a different bank. I don't want to call their names here. I'm sure everybody knows that bank. Well, they don't born your papa well to call them by name. Call who by name? Hey! So it was foreign to me. Because
Different culture.
My career started at Access Bank, where we're calling everybody, even the MD, by name. So I think it's just being able to raise people who can fit in. No matter where they find themselves, if they go to UK tomorrow, they can fit in. So I just wanted to like reiterate what Emeka was saying.
Yes. Now let us even think about people who are young couples who are in Nigeria, young couples who are in Africa. I like using Nigeria and Africa because I'm sure the many non-Nigerians watching would also want to know and probably have similar experiences. What would be, and I'll start with Kusui, knowing, having the experience you have now raising children, what would you advise young couples in Nigeria? What should they do before coming with their families to Canada? What would you advise them to do? What would you advise them not to do? So, Kusui, can we start?
If you're a young couple and you're moving here and you're moving to Canada, especially from a place like Nigeria, one thing that you probably have to realize is you probably have to start imbibing and letting your kids know that, look, yes, there's going to be some difference, because definitely you're in an environment where almost everybody around you is Nigerian. We're in Nigeria. I'm not saying even in Nigeria, everybody has different values in different cultures. Different homes have different values and what they uphold and everything. But in terms of interactions, definitely when you come here, for example, your interactions with, just like Lola and like I said, when you see a Kokoshan, it's hi, hello. When you see someone, probably someone who's from the black skin, who has a black skin, it's good morning, sir. You have to start letting them understand and imbibing to them to understand that, look, different people see things differently. The Nigerian person you've been interacting with, or the African who you've been interacting with, kind of sees things differently from the Kokoshan who you're going to be interacting with a lot, and people from other cultures who you're going to be interacting with a lot, because they're from other demographics, other cultures. Their cultures are different. The way they see things, the way they view things are different. Then one of the things you also have to try to imbibe in your kids and let them know is be expressive. Speak out. Speak your mind. If you're not happy with something, be bold enough to say it. Look, I'm not happy with this. I do not feel all right with this. If you're good with something, also be able to speak out. Be able to be thankful. Be grateful. Don't get entitled to think that someone owes you something, or someone has to do something for you. That's one thing we have to highlight to the realize as Africans coming here, that look, our kids need to be expressive. They need to be bold enough to be able to say what it is. The good thing right nowadays is that I think to an extent a lot of us are raising kids now that we not excessively challenge, but we say we ask them to challenge things. I remember we were growing up a lot of times in especially back home in Nigeria, when an adult, when they tell you that when elders speak to you, you listen and you do what they say. They almost tell you that, look, do not question, and the elder gives you an instruction, you follow. But now it's good that now we're raising kids, and when you tell a kid something, sometimes it's good to tell the kids that, what, challenge some of those things, to ask, why am I supposed to do this? Why? So that it's not just a matter of following instructions. It's a matter of knowing why you need to do that thing. Why is that expected of you? Put that reasoning and that thought process. That's how conversations, starts. So they understand why this is done, why you don't do this, what are the consequences of doing this, what are the consequences when you don't do this. So those are part of the things that I think that as African parents we need to start sitting down with these kids before we even come here, when you know you're about making that journey and that step to say, look, you're moving to a different environment, you're moving to another environment where things are slightly going to be different, you know, from where you're coming from, and you need to be expressive enough, you need to be bold, you need to be able to an extent, you need to be, kids also need to be assertive to an extent to say, look, this is what is expected of me, this is what I don't like this. Try to understand the person's point of view, but try to explain your own point of view to, like, look, this is why I don't like this, this is why I see wrong in this, and have that conversation, even if the person is an adult, so that you will find out that your kids are how about it, grew up better, they are more intentional, they understand things, not just following instructions for the sake of following instructions. So that's the view I look at it from.
Interesting. Thank you. So you have used your own experience growing up in Nigeria. You have looked at some of the limitations with respect to, when an adult says something, you cannot ask any question. The word is their law. You can't even, ask and say, oh, why? The question, many kids ask why. Why do I have to do this? Or why don't I have to do this? And adults get offended. Like, why are you asking me why? But that should not be an offensive question. I think that kind of question stimulates logical thinking and reasoning in kids. And you are right. So I'm sure with all these things and all this, the experience you had growing up, you are able to use that for your own kids as well. What would you advise young Nigerian couple who are thinking of relocating, coming to Canada, or coming abroad generally, and have young children and some of their fears? What do you do to advise them on what to do, and probably some of the things you, in hindsight, would have done differently or have put in place? It's just so that they have an understanding of how this works and how the system works here, and works there in Canada.
Okay. So I'll just use like what we did. We've been here for about, I think December made it 5 years. We were here. We came to Canada. Came in 2019 December. So it's been 5 years now. And for me, what I say is the things we did. So back home, myself and my husband, we had domestic staff maybe once in a while. We're not the people who had domestic staff all the time, for example. But once in a while, we'll have them for a short period. But I remember like when we decided we're going to come here, we didn't have domestic staff for almost 1 year plus. After having my daughter in 2018, we had a domestic staff for a while. And then I think from end of 2018, we didn't have, because we knew like, okay. So we used to do stuff myself. Like I said, we were in and out, but then we were like full throttle on, myself and my husband. We had just one child. No, we had 2 children then by this time. We're doing everything ourselves. I worked in the bank, he was in tech, so it was not easy. It was not the easiest of things, but at least we started to be very like hands-on. Not like we're not hands-on, but we became very hands-on. So when we came here, it was really easy. I remember like many people, oh my God, I used to be part of a Telegram group, and anyways, different stories. There's this person I remember somebody give me a story about how the domestic staff even followed them to the airport to say goodbye. And it was trauma coming here. Like it was madness. This person almost fell into depression, like, because he had domestic staff to the last day, right? Anyways, back to what I'm saying. I'll say, honestly, I think for me, what has helped us here in Canada is because of the way we lived our lives. Again, when I tell you, Shegun, that the way I live my life, I try to do it as if even though I was in Nigeria, my marriage was not like a Nigerian marriage. My marriage operated like we were abroad from day one. Like there are certain things we came to agreements on as a couple before we even got married. And for example, one of the things was I was never going to be in a marriage where only the man was going to provide everything. Right. So I wasn't going to do that. So I know, like, even in the bank, I remember I knew people who, with all the monies they made in the bank, they never brought 1 naira to their families, to their homes. The men were doing everything. Some didn't have the capacity, some had the capacity, right? And I don't believe in things like that. I believe if I'm married to somebody, we should build this family together, for example, right? So, and this is why many marriages from Nigeria come here in the first place and crash in the first 4-5 years, because the things many people do in Nigeria will not work here. If you're leaving a man to do everything in Nigeria, it will not work here. If you're leaving a woman to do all the domestic stuff, it will not work here. You're married, I'm telling you now, your marriage will crash in 1 year. Take it from me. And I was a married counselor. I'm still a married counselor, not practicing now, but I was a married counselor for the longest time in Nigeria. So I'm talking from as someone who was a married counselor in Nigeria, right? Start to unlearn certain things. I keep telling people to unlearn, learn, and relearn. Okay? Same thing goes with your kids. Many people in Nigeria do not even know their kids. As you're leaving 5 o'clock in the morning, house help will be with them till school bus comes. School bus comes, they go to school, they come back. They come back, maybe school bus will come back maybe 5. The domestic staff will give them, will give them food to eat. After eating, they either got iPads or got TV. Friends will come back maybe 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. There's no time, you're tired, you eat. There's no even bonding time. Sometimes the kids are even put to bed before you come. It can't work. It can't even work. It will not work. I'm telling you now, it would not work here. So start being involved with your kids. When they come from school, questions. How was your day? Tell me more. Open-ended questions. What did you do today? Who were you kind to? Who was mean to somebody? Do you understand? Like, what happened? Tell me more. Oh, this happened? Oh, wow. Conversations with them. Build friendships. These are the children many of you are saying you want to take care of your retirement. You don't have relationship with them. Oh, see, there's work. There's a lot of work, okay? So start being very involved with your kids. Start to ask questions. Even if you have, I'm not saying pursue all your domestic stuff, right? But even if you have some domestic stuff, you're this man that has never washed toilet before. Wash toilets. Hey, put happy, like so, wash the toilet. Hey, buy tomato. Hey, you this woman that all your money is for human hair. I used to, I don't want to cause rancor. You want to wear human hair? I don't have a problem. Wanty, that's money you're buying human hair. If you want to buy human hair every month, it will not work here. In this abroad, it will not work. Yeah? So you will carry that money that you have budgeted for human hair, whether your husband is Dangote, you will budget it for kids RESP. You will put it in RRSP. You will help to pay more. And if you're not paying mortgage, your husband should pay more. You will pay telephone bill. You will pay telos. You will pay internet. There's activities kids have to go to. So you have to unlearn certain things. So this is why many marriages from Africa don't last here. It's not cause. It's not your village people. It's not, they say I should not go abroad. Oh, they have followed me. Is that many things we do would not work here. So start to unlearn certain things. Start to learn certain things. Contribute to your home. Okay? Young man, you've never asked your wife before. Let not someone sit that. Well, you will come to this abroad and you will see problem. If you and your wife are not on the same front, you will go mad. Do you understand? And abroad, see, no matter how strong you are, I tell people that this abroad is a leveler. It humbles everybody. If you think you have money, if you see, if me and Busuyi are coming to this country, Busuyi came with $1 million. No, who wants to have $1 million? Let's not, we're talking of our people now, middle class people. Let's say Busuyi is coming with $100,000 and I'm coming with $20,000. If Busuyi should think he has more money than me, as we're reaching that Toronto PSC airport, whatever airport you are reaching, as your leg steps on this North American soil, we're all the same. That's where your humbling starts. So Busuyi might think he has more money, no problems. Maybe this money will finish. Do you understand? So please, again, it's not juju, it's not village people. You just have to unlearn certain things, relearn and learn. For your kids, there's a place to be friends to your kids. There's a place to be parents. You can't be friends to your kids all the time. There's a place to I'm the parent here. This is my instruction. There's a place for kids to ask why. There's a place for you to say, this is what I've told you to do. Can I be telling my kids to go unload the dishwasher and they're asking me why every day? If I've told you why you should unload the dishwasher the first day, and I explain it again to you the second day, by the third day, young man and young woman, you will unload the dishwasher because you have to do it as a chore. Why should I make my bed? Oh, you make your bed because you want to be responsible day one. You come the second day. Why do I need to make my bed and clean my room? Because you need to be responsible and meet needs. By the third day, You need to make your bed because it is your role to do it. I will not be asking that question, Jonathan, for 1 year. But if your kids come and say, oh, why did this happen? Why do you think, like now I know like my son has been asking us a couple of things about, he's beginning to be more aware. Oh, why do we pay taxes? Oh, what happens in the government? He'll say something like, why is this happening? The other day when Trudeau resigned, I was like, why did Trudeau resign? And I saw some things. Is it that bad? You know, things like that. Of course, you answer. Am I making sense to you? But you cannot be answering question of why am I making my bed every day? And the child is 10 years old. Hello. So please start making your kids to do. All of you that think it's life to have 10 domestic staff, it's good life. Oh, there's no award for Sofaed. But in this abroad, that's Sofaed. All of you are saying there's no award for. We come here and do the work. There's an award here for Sofaed. There's no, how many domestic staff do you want to hire? The system is not built that way, is what I'm trying to say, okay? Now, the last thing I'm going to say is be involved in your kids' schoolwork. Do you know that there are people in this Canada that don't have access to their kids' school zone? They don't have access to their kids' Google Classroom. They don't know what they're teaching their children in school. And then later you're wondering, how did my kid get far away from what we are, from the center? So from Nigeria, be involved. Know what they're teaching them. Some of you think you're too big to talk to the teachers. Maybe it's this abroad you're coming to. Please, humble yourself in Nigeria, no matter the money you have, even if you're Elon Musk in Nigeria, bring yourself down, interact with the teachers, okay? Know what they're teaching your kids, volunteer. See, that's why we have vacation days. I tell people there's something I'm preaching now at work. Vacation days are not necessarily for you to travel all the time. You can travel, you can use the vacation days for staycation, sit down in your house, explore your local environment, or you can use your vacation days to even do certain things. Take one vacation day, go to your kids' school and volunteer. Take one vacation day, go and involve, do traffic, do something. Do you understand what I'm trying to say for your kids' school? And see how children are even interacting. It will help you. So from Nigeria, start to do all these things, right? So be involved in their schoolwork, help them. That's the second thing. I notice that parents and children whose parents are involved in their schoolwork have some level of confidence. So please, are you involved in their schoolwork? Even in this Canada, are you involved in their schoolwork? Like it gives them that level of confidence. I remember my talking about what America was saying about values. My daughter, when she was in kindergarten, one day the teacher talked to me. I was like, oh my God, teacher, like your daughter texted me today. I was like, what happened? She was like, she said I swore. I used a swear word. I was like, so like, yeah, but I told her I didn't use a swear word. And she was like, no, my mom said you just swear. And she was like, okay, she had to explain to her that. So the teacher wasn't swearing, but she used, you know how you can say something, like maybe in a context. And she was like, oh, I didn't swear. I was just like saying something. And she was like, oh, okay, at kindergarten age. Right? So let them know certain things. But again, that just came in my head. But anyways, be involved in their schoolwork. Make sure you can have children who are respectful, who are critically, like thinking critically. Like you said, Busui, was it Busui that said that we were not taught to question things, right, when we're much younger. But I think millennials are doing much better raising kids who can question. So I really appreciate millennials doing that. However, even if you don't want to do it, if you are raising Gen Z, raising generation, which one they call it? Is it alpha and B? It's alpha, we are alpha and beta now. If you're raising those children,
better and gamma.
So we are the ones raising alpha. I think our parents are the ones raising some of these Gen Z. So we are raising alpha, and we're going to be raising beta for those who are still giving birth now. But what I'm trying to say is, you have no choice. Jennifer, alpha and beta will ask questions. Okay, so if you feel like your children asking a question just removes your ego, start to unlearn that. All right. So yeah, I think I've said all what I want to do. Just like work together as a team. You must be a team, united front. You see, that's another thing. You see this one they do in Nigeria. You have a favorite child. You don't have a favorite child. If you don't have a united front, you cannot move forward in this abroad. Your children must not know the weakness of the two of you. Do you understand? You must be together. Yeah? Busui and his wife on the same front. Shegun and his spouse. Yemeka, Lola. Do you understand? Have a united front as a family.
I'm sure there are many young couples right now, as you're speaking, who were taking notes and doing like, okay, and they are, because you really brought in so many things. I mean, it's fully packed. So, Uncle Pizza, please, over to you.
Oh, okay. Busi and Lola spoke at length on, what happens with adults and kids. I'm gonna answer your question from a different perspective. What advice would I give to young couples in Nigeria who want to move abroad? There's something I always tell people when they ask me about marriage. I tell them that Love does not sustain marriages. When I say this, people get shocked, and I say, hold on, it takes love to start a marriage, but love does not sustain marriages. What sustains marriages is good habits. You have to be intentional about cultivating good habits. If you've cultivated a habit of disrespect, whether or to your husband or to your wife, moving abroad won't change it. The only thing that might change is that your wife now has the means to, address that disrespect. If you yell or you beat her or this and that. And then even on the side of the man, he too can go to the police and with evidence can do many, many things to you. So develop good habits while you're in Nigeria, where it doesn't matter. For me, I rate people based on what they do when it doesn't matter. Because stress will reveal a lot more things. Stress reveals impurities. That's why we put gold through fire to purify it, and diamond and things like that. So develop good habits. That's how you can sustain that marriage. And then number 2, be friends to one another. People see marriage a different way. Oh, this is my wife. There's many people who are married to each other, but they are not friends. You will see your husband respect his guy friend more than his own wife. You will see your wife respect their friends more than you, the husband. The friend can fart in a room and she wouldn't even cover her nose, and the man friend can do all kinds of things. They tolerate it. But once the spouse does it, voila. So no, you have to be friends. If you were friends before you got married, excellent. If you just got married, please be intentional about becoming a friend first. Before I tell people that there's all kinds of shapes in human relationships. There's courtship, there's friendship, there's this and that. The best shape is the friendship. When your relationship, the shape of your relation fails, if you don't have the life support shape of friendship to fall back on, you are sinking. The Titanic sank and lost many people because they didn't have enough life support boats. Friendship is the life support boat of any relationship, especially marriage. If you have friendship, it doesn't matter what happens between you two, you will always find that boat. And then from there, you can build back. So the third point I want to raise is people need to marry each other. Many people in Nigeria have this impression the man marries the woman. No, the man is not marrying the woman and the woman is not marrying the man. They married each other. So marry each other. Don't say, come here with the impression that this is my wife. She's got to do whatever I tell her to do. This is my husband. It's his responsibility to do this or that. You're going to have problems with that mindset. So marry each other and go from there. The most important one that I want to point out of all the things I've said, this I find is the most critical. Accept that a new environment will stress your relationship. Even the presence of 24/7 power can become a stressor. Because me, while I lived in Nigeria, I liked to game, but I didn't have money to buy gas to power my generator. So I didn't game a lot. But here in Canada, oh, wow, there's always power. I find myself gaming and I forget to apply for work. That's a stressor in your relationship. The most important thing is that you need to find a way to recognize when these stressors start to come and decide on what you will do to address it. Because if these stressors come and you don't recognize them and you don't address them, you will break. This environment is designed that you are most successful as a couple than as singles. It is said unofficially that it is the singles that pay the tax. Because as a married couple that has a child, if you have 7 children, the state pays you depending on what your income is and the age of the children. But generally, they pay you $600 a month. That money has to come from somewhere. And it is the single people who don't have kids that pay those taxes. As a married person, your tax bracket is lower because you have you have things you take care of. You have children and this and that. And then while you live in Nigeria, start redefining what gender roles are. This aspect of the man will provide and the woman will cook. Well, if the man knows how to cook better than you, you better learn how to start providing. It's all balancing. It's a balancing act. I tell people, let the person who knows how to do it best do it. If the woman knows best how to make money, let her go and make money in abroad, and the man learn how to cook. Or you learn how to go and make money so she can learn how to cook. Because these things, oh, I am the man, I can't do anything. Meanwhile, you're at home 24/7 and you expect the woman to go to work and come back and cook. It won't work, oh, because at some point she will break down. This society drains you. It's not a place where you go to work and you're just, ghosting around. No, you go to work and you are actually put to work. If it's physical labor you are doing, you will get to do it. If it's office work, doing table work drains more glucose from the brain and it makes you more tired. So if you're signing and writing reports and analyzing data, that's work. You don't expect someone who has done all of this to come back and start cooking while you are at home. These things will not work. If you do, I'm sure there's more, but given the limited time, this is what I could come up with. If you practice all of these things, the relationship is most likely to succeed in Canada because, like I said, coming abroad exposes what we have inside us. But if your spouse is your friend, you are going to cope better. If you marry one another, you're going to cope better. If you develop good habits, you're going to cope better. If you abolish gender roles, you are going to cope better. If you do all of these things, your sojourn abroad will be successful, to the best of my knowledge. Thank you.
Wow. Full notes here. Back to back full notes for young couples. There's no way they will listen to this and not get something that and to not benefit them. Before we proceed, Lola, you raised your hand. I think you have a question or you have a comment, contribution to make.
Okay, so Emeka, really great points. I know like we're going to do marriage at a different time, like maybe talk about marriage and sit down, but Emeka said something I really preach to everybody. You see, friendship in marriage is what is lacking in many marriages, even back home. And I tell people you need to be friends, and that's one of the things that also worked, for us. Like I tell people, myself and my husband, we're more friends than we're lovers. It has its downsides, right? Like many times romance may be missing, but he's my guy. Do you understand? Like he's my person, and it was a key thing for me when I was going to get married, right? I needed somebody I could be friends with, I could respect. Okay. So I tell people like my husband is the one person guy that can tell me to sit down, I'll sit down. Like I don't think there's any other man. Like the first day he saw me arguing with, even my daddy was like, "Is that your dad you're arguing with?" Like I'm that assertive, but if he says sit down, I sit down. But he's my guy. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So, anyways, Emeka said that, and I want to bring it up again. It's very important. Listen, many things will happen when you land that if you're not friends, it will disrupt your whole life, right? So if you're not friends, like Emeka said, marry each other. I don't see this thing. I don't know. There's a lot of unlearning we have to do, Sha, but he's not marrying you. You're not the price. You're not marrying him as the price. Two of you are prizes. As your trophy husband, she's trophy wife. Everybody's trophy. Let's trophy ourselves. Let's be all trophies and on top of pedestal. Sure, you understand? You don't think because you are the one that married her, so, or I married him. Who will marry him if it was not you? That please. Let us, please. Very important, very important, right? Very, excuse me, very, I'm so sorry, guys. Very, very important. But like I said, you need to be friends because friendship would see, forget love. You will see challenge, You will remember what love is. Is that you will know? You remember what love is? Is the agape love? Let me put it like that. It's the agape love that will carry you through, not the eros love. It's the agape love. Agape love that will take you further down than the eros love, the romantic love. So
Are you
please,
saying, sorry, Lola, sorry to question, are you saying all this just because of a change in environment, change in location?
no, I'm saying even from Nigeria. Even in Nigeria, I'm telling you one of the things that helped us so far, even back
Is it
home. And I'm
amplified?
telling you,
Is it amplified in Canada?
it's
Is it
oh,
amplified?
yeah. Oh, do you understand what I'm saying? So a lot of things are possible back home because there are loopholes to manage those things, is what I'm trying to explain to you. And then when they're not here, things are amplified. So this is so all those things Shagun, are not available. So people should be friends. I remember when I heard America saying, I was like, this, I need to amplify it again. People take it for granted. Don't take it for granted. Back home, start to practice being friends with your husband. And a friend, like Emeka was saying, is if you fat, it doesn't matter, right? A friend wants the best for the next person. And this is why, as a friend, if I'm married to Shegun and he's my friend, I wouldn't care if I have to buy generator fuel. Why must I say he must do it? Emeka also said something. Look for who does things best. I will give you a very, I don't hide it. I say it all the time. I love driving. Maybe I should have been a Formula One driver in my life. Driving, I don't understand how people don't like driving. Driving is therapeutic for me. My husband does not like driving. When we're coming to this country, I told him, guy, no wala. You will get your license when we come. He told me, like, I don't need car. So there's transport, there's ETS, there's train. I don't need it. But I said, okay, no wala, please let me get your license. Okay, in case of emergencies and all that. Back home, all the times I insisted when I was pregnant, he got driver. We had driver. In fact, when I was pregnant for my second child, we're going to get driver. I say, I'm planning to go to Canada. Please, I will drive myself. I drove myself till the end. But the first pregnancy, he got us a driver. He doesn't like driving, right? So where am I going to? Now, here he got his license. He drives like corner shop, take the keys for activities, all that. But I'm the main driver. Some women will not do it. They'll be like, it's a man's position to drive. Why? Now I'm going to tell you something that is very funny. I hate to load the dishwasher. Oh my! When you say load the dish, I can do it. Oh, I'll do it. I do it once in a while. But if you tell me to load the dishwasher, you can see me already like crumbling. My husband loads the dishwasher in 5 minutes. Like one day I was just watching him like, why are you so happy loading the dishwasher? How? Because I'm not the patient person. Remember I told you, I'm not the most patient person. I'd rather wash those plates with my hand. So now I drive all the time. Like sometimes he will do driving around town. But even if I'm driving like for 3 hours, I do the driving. What's there? Some people will say, if it's not the man, I'm not going to do it. Then you start fighting. Then wahala. Then everybody's stressed. It's not necessary. Why? He's my friend. Do you understand? I don't need to think about it twice. Same way he doesn't think about it twice loading the dishwasher. Like sometimes I just stand. One day he saw me just looking at him like this. I was like, what was wrong? I was like, I don't understand how you load this dishwasher. I'm so in awe of you. Like I'm sure you could think, what's this girl saying? You don't even want to understand. Do you get?
It makes sense. What you're saying makes sense. It makes total sense. Yeah.
I try to use myself as examples as much as possible so that people can know that these things happen. It took a longer time for my husband to get a job. Even I didn't get the kind of job I wanted. I went to work as a security guard. Did I die? No. I worked for 8 months. 8 months as a security guard. I remember every day I'm leaving the house, my husband, you see me at the door so scared. He would be like, oh my God. I'll be like, guy, just keep applying for us. Guess what? At the end of the day, this job I'm thriving in, it was one of those nights I came back from my security guard job. He told me he found my job on LinkedIn. He was like, I found your job. So he was job hunting. He was looking for jobs for me. He's the one who found this job that I have thrived in. I'm now a senior person. So what if I was fighting him and saying he must go? I didn't know fighting because I knew that if I push this guy to go and do that security guard job, I might be a widow today. I know. Why are you laughing? I know.
Oh Lord.
I know who I'm married to. Do you understand? I knew his level, like I knew his capacity. Because he might just be so stressed thinking and cross the road and car will hit him. So I knew I had the power. I did it. We're still alive today. Marriage is still going. Like Emeka said, respect, friendship will go a long way.